start out with some details on the eyes and the nose to kind of give you some anchor points.
Yep.
All right, and so we're going to start out with really dark paint, and we're going to use, you could just use the burnt umber and the indigo, and make a black or a brownish black or a bluish black, whatever you feel like. Okay, so let's see. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of outline the eyes, and you can see here, there's two things going on here. First, the inside of the actual edge of his eyelid is black. There's a highlight on it here, but it's actually black. But then it's actually also here, down here, there's a shadow cast on the eyeball, which confuses it a little bit. And it's not real important that you get that just right, but know that you can actually outline this area in black because it is black. So you're not messing up. And if you get it, if you want some highlight on it too, you can come back in later with a little white ink, just like you might do on the highlight on the eye. So I'm going to outline this. And I'm using a, this is a number 4, but number 6 works great. I'm using a black velvet brush. Here's the tear duct. And we know that this area right here has a highlight on it. There's a couple of ways I could do this. I could just outline this part. And then later I could paint this in a certain way. Or I could make it all black and then put white ink on top of it later. Either way will work. So I'm also going to outline this part of the, okay, here's where I got into trouble on this. Sure enough, I see it now. Okay, here's the pupil, or the iris, I should say, of the eye. And when you look at this dog, you see a light above it. That also is reflected light. But let's go ahead, let's just put that in a little thicker here and know that later we're going to put a highlight there.
I was about to look at
Okay. What is it? You didn't start
She
filming?
zoomed in on the photo
'Cause
and not your painting.
I was studying that.
She's
eye.
looking at the photo and you're over here painting and she's not getting it on
I
the.
forgot I was supposed to be filming you.
I think our camera person has been drinking this afternoon.
It's like I was looking at that eye really good.
I'm going to put a little bit of the pupil in here. The only reason I'm doing that, it does show on this dog, and you can have it or not. The only reason that I'm showing it is that the eye looks better to me now while I'm working on the dog, and it always helps to have that work right. Now what I have here is I have a consistency that is, it's pretty rich, so that it'll make a dark line, but it's thin enough that it's really flowing easily off the brush, so it's easy to work with. You will notice on this dog, there's a lot of things about this dog that look very distorted, and it's because, all these wrinkles. So this eye, the skin around this eye is really collapsed in a different way, and you want to follow that. So when you go to paint this, it's kind of hard to see here. You have a drawing here, and then you could also even look at this if you need something that's a little sharper. But I would follow my drawing, which I did in a situation where I could see better than you probably can from this print. So let's go ahead and let's do the same thing here. And wish I could speed paint this for you, but I can't. In fact, it's kind of hard to do. You could almost use a black pen. In fact, if you had one and you wanted to, you could. So here, because the eye is squished down, you see that the iris it doesn't look as round as that one. you know, because a lot of it's covered up. We'll just put some semblance of pupil in there again, just to make us feel better. There are some lines around here that I've given you, and I'm going to paint those in. I kind of made them kind of dotty, but the thing is that that this area is going to be so dark that it'll kind of help you to have that to have these lines in there, just to help you see it a little bit better once you start getting a darker wash in there. Now the nose. This drawing of the nose looks really funny, and it is a little different. You can see that right here we have a strong highlight there, and here we don't. So my drawing kind of drew the highlight area. You could go a little smaller if you wanted to, but you're going to fill this area in again, just totally dark. And that might seem a little harsh right now, but later it won't. Now, one of the things that's going on with the nose, so we get this far, there's a wrinkle coming around here. In the black, there's a wrinkle right there. So I'm going to go ahead and make a dark line around the nose this way. Let's see, my glasses keep sliding down and then I can't see what I'm doing. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to come over, and over here all this area gets really, really dark and you can hardly see what's going on. But I've got something like this drawn in here. Whoa, I got a little bumpy with it. Let's just do that. And then right down here, there is, go ahead and get a little bit of this in, kind of a shape down here. And what you could do is you could come in and soften a couple of these edges if you want to. If you don't want to, it's okay also, because it's all going to work again later. But I might soften a little bit of this like that. Okay, so that's going to help you get started. You could look at some other places if you wanted to. Let's see, like right here, there's pretty strong shadow underneath him. I'm working with a little bit thinner paint here because this is going to be a gray or whatever color you want to make the couch. But he's got a good enough shadow there that you could probably do a little something like this while you're working with it. This is where good quality paper that has enough sizing on it. We won't say who that was that didn't get enough sizing, but the good quality paper with enough sizing on it lets you really paint on this and still make soft edges and even mix your colors right on the paper instead of, here's a place right here. Maybe I'll just do a place or two. Tell you what, let's stop right there. You know, there's some pinks in here, and you can build some pinks in here later, but for right now, let's just stay with the way we're working, okay? So you might want to do some soft edges in some places, maybe like right along here. You know, you've got a lot of soft edges and stuff going on. I think I'm just going to dabble some water in here. Again, maybe unevenly. And, well, I'll just do an area at a time. So, I might want to get some areas a little bluer and some areas a little browner. It doesn't matter which way you do it, where you put it. It's the idea that there's a little bit of, subtle color change. So I've got this a little bit more bluish, and I'll come along this edge where I gave you a dotted line because we want it to be soft. And let's just say some places there it might hit some water and might be, remember, this is not a portrait of the dog. So we get to, in fact, if I leave a few little holes in there, a few of those little sparkles, he kind of may have a few. They don't show up much, but I could kind of do that. And then down here, let's get that wet with gray. We'll just do a little area at a time so that we can kind of keep some of these edges soft. I know that this is going to get real gray and real dark under there. And then over this way we go into brown. So what I'm going to do, I don't really have to worry about fading this out because it's going to be pretty dark there, but I did a little bit anyway. But right here where the brown is, I kind of want to fade some of this color into the brown area because the brown is actually shaded there quite a bit. So I might even do something like this. And this won't be enough color. I mean, we'll probably add more later, but there's a little bit there. So I've got things like this going on. Now, while it's still wet, let's get a little browner maybe and add a little stuff in here. Have a little fun with it, see what the paint wants to do. Just have a little conversation with the paint and enjoy yourself, okay? So I'm just building up some areas like this. Well, let's come in, let's get water again, and let's get this wet over in here a little bit. And then we'll just come back in over here. See, now I've got those nice little color changes. This is going to have to probably go a good bit darker, so I don't know how much of that I'll keep and how much of it I'll lose, but I like it. Let's add a little bit of, well, I wanted to get that brush really clean because I wanted to add water there, and I think I'll add a little more water into this. Oops, picking up a little bit of gray. Those are nice soft things happening there, though. I think I may even get a run back here, and I think I will just decide to treasure it and keep it. So let's come up a little area at a time. If you try to get too much area, you wind up with harsh things happening. So the idea is to play into this. There's a little bit of a divide right here coming up to the nose, which makes that a good place to stop. Well, we just as well color in the nose too. Now the nose is smoother and shinier, so, well, it's not totally, he's not, I shouldn't call it smooth. That's wrong term for this nose. But again, we'll add in to where we hit the water and just let little things happen there. You know that you can grow that space later. You can add more to it or take away from it. Let's say that I want to take away from it. Let's say that I think I've got more in an area than I want, which I don't, but let's say that I do. I'll just take my wet brush, because this is where you need natural hair, and squeeze it out, and I can come in here and I can pull some color up that way. Just whatever I want to. See, I can make things happen there. It won't be too harsh because this doesn't suck up too much because it's a already moist brush. So that's all, is that you're building some shading in. Again, know that we will glaze some pinks in later on top of some of this. If you notice that one that I showed you a while ago, it has a lot more pink in it than you see here. And it was really a beautiful look. So, oh dear, this grew on me. I think that's, well, I'll just add a little water and maybe I'll give it a little blot because that's going to get brown. So I'm going to ask you not to paint your browns yet, but just to kind of work with this muzzle area and any places that are decidedly black. You have a lot of shading up in here, and you could do some of it with some black or dark brown, but don't go for the overall color yet, okay?
Okay.
All right.